Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and the patch notes were actually released a day early, so I apologize for not having them posted this morning with the regular morning video where we did the skill rotation stuff, but I had no idea that the update was going to be a day early. But yes, so the maintenance is actually going to be happening tonight. It's going to be happening Monday night instead of Tuesday night, which means that the update is going to be live on the 9th in the wee hours of the morning, or on the 8th if you're in the west coast of the United States, very, very late. You can see the maintenance is until 10 p.m. PST today. So tonight's live stream on Twitch is going to be delayed. I'm going to start streaming much later so that when the update goes live, we can jump right in and check out all the new uniforms and all the new content. With that being said, let's check out what we can expect from this update. There are good things and there are bad things. There are things to praise and things to criticize. So, you know, I'm just going to try to temper all of my expectations, and you know, let's just dive in. So there's no new characters. They've confirmed that from the patch notes. There are no new characters, but we are getting 5 new uniforms. We're getting this black uniform for Deadpool. We're getting this uniform for Cable, Gambit, and Nightcrawler. What's interesting is the method of acquisition for the white uniform of Deadpool. It is sort of free, but you don't get it in the traditional way. Now, I don't really want to go through and list all of the differences between all of the uniforms. All of the uniforms do have multiple differences. The things that I want to highlight here is that Nightcrawler's uniform is actually cheaper. It's the first time in maybe a year that we've seen a uniform on sale for 750 crystals. So I don't know if this is supposed to be a discount as an apology for the last uniform that was pretty bad, or if this is their admission that they didn't really put a lot of effort. There aren't really many meta changing effects for Nightcrawler. He does get his chain hit damage increased from 5% to 20, which is a quadruple chain hit buff. And he does have some other buffs on his skills. Most notably, he has 2 immunity skills instead of 1 guard hit skill. So I personally feel like this might be a bit of a dark horse kind of sleeper uniform, but I know a lot of people are looking at it cynically because it's only 750 crystals, and we literally haven't seen a uniform this cheap in over a year, which is making people assume that it's cheap because it's bad. I don't think any of the uniform buffs or changes are bad. None of them are sort of top to bottom massive reworks, but we have to keep in mind Cable's already a really good character, right? A lot of people were saying he didn't need a uniform, so no surprise here that his uniform is not like head and shoulders better than the other one. It's hard to pick out the buffs, right? There are buffs. There are buffs here and there, 5% more of this chance to penetrate, a damage proc added. He does have the supervillain proc like Ghost Rider does, except instead of a 250% proc, it's a 50% proc against villains. There are some things, you know, Deadpool is getting a iframe ignore skill on his first. He's also getting a 50% increase all defense instead of 5%. He's getting a 65% heal when he's below 35 instead of a 45% heal. There are changes. They're just not as dramatic as we're used to when other characters have gotten uniforms in the past. You know, it's not as dramatic as, let's say, Thor's buff, where he's getting all these crazy new abilities. He's getting accumulation, etc. Or Loki, for example. These are a bit more nuanced, but yeah, I do think all 4 of the uniforms are buffs. Gambit, most notably, is getting a heal for the first time, so that's really cool. So we'll have to wait and see just how good these uniforms are, but I am excited to try them all out because they do seem to have increases and buffs and considerations for both PvE and PvP, which I do personally like. Now, we're also getting the potential awakening or the potential unlocking for these 7 new characters. I wouldn't worry too much about the top row or the middle bottom row, but Blue Marvel and Ant-Man are actually quite good, and they'll definitely be useful on your roster at some point at level 70. So I would use them, bring them into World Boss, sort of carry them, or you can use them as a striker against Null and get their potential unlocked that way. I'm not saying you have to take them to level 70, but just getting their potential unlocked, they could get tier 3s in the future, or they could get awakenings, and they could end up being very, very meta characters because they were released as super meta characters just a few years ago. So just a small thing I want to point out there. Cable's getting his tier 3. His tier 3 doesn't have many effects, but we don't really need to have a lot of effects if the skill has insane damage. And it's got a pretty cool animation. They're bringing his old 5th skill back, Plasma Shower. So yeah, I want to see how much damage this does. That's where I'm going to reserve my judgment for. But yeah, it is low on the effects. It seems like maybe they want Cable to just be a raw damage beast because they are not giving him all of those ABX effects that we've come to expect. I mean, he does have silence. but I don't think he has paralysis or burn. So I believe that sort of indicates he has bleed there. Yeah, I don't think he's going to have paralysis or burn, which to me indicates that they're not really looking to push the ABX meta, although they've been doing it a lot lately. So maybe this is just a huge raw damage burst skill, because they could easily have added burn or paralysis or both to the skill. I mean, you can see the skill stuns the enemies in place, right? So you want to read into that based on what's there, but also based on what's missing. Then we've got the Transcendent abilities for Nightcrawler and Gambit. We don't have yet the details for X-23's Transcendent ability. X-23's Transcendence, X-23's uniform, and Rogue's uniforms are not in these patch notes because they're going to be released in the sort of mid-month area with another Tier 3 character who will hopefully be Rogue, but could possibly be Psylocke. For all you Psylocke fans out there, one piece of... not advice, but one piece of speculation I have for you is that recently, if you think about it, Marvel Future Fight has been releasing Tier 3s that are the same in typing update after update. So for example, we got Ghost Rider, and then we got Dormammu, and then Ghost Rider, both universal. We got Venom and then Carnage, both combat. We got Sentry and then Molecule Man, both universal, right? They've been going, over and over with we got Loki, and then we got Null, right? So they've been really repeating the typings on purpose, in my opinion, to drain whales of their books, so they have to buy more books. They have to buy more Titan Record selectors and things like that. So Psylocke would be the best candidate. She is in Excalibur. She has the Captain Britain uniform. If you follow that idea, it does connect Cable to Psylocke. They could go for Cable and Strife because they're clones, but Strife doesn't really have... I don't think Strife has been featured at all in the Dawn of X series. Maybe in Dawn of X, but they don't even say his name once in House of X and Powers of 10. I don't know if that has to do with the whole time traveling clone thing, but they have already covered clones with Phantom X to an extent. So yeah, it's not necessarily about the clones. Anyways, back to the Awakening skills. Pretty interesting. Nightcrawler has the -60 all defense down and all of the buffs. Gambit does not. So again, I think that they're trying to highlight the raw damage that these characters are supposed to put out here. Gambit does have all defense down on his 5th skill, so that hasn't changed there. He's got the whatever -30 up to -60, so he technically doesn't need another all defense down skill. But yeah, he's getting all these buffs, which I'm happy for, and I like the Awakening skill. Some people have pointed out that the Awakening skills are starting to seem very similar because it's just 3 characters coming out and all doing the same attack. They did do something more unique for Valkyrie's skill, so I don't necessarily mind if the Awakening skills become a little bit more cookie cutter, as long as the animations are still beautiful, right? Like, even though Valkyrie's, Sif, and Heimdall skills are the same, it's just the 3 of them jumping out and doing an attack. Because of the animations with the light and the pattern that makes, it looks really beautiful and it feels really unique. Obviously, if you look at some other skills like, Mystique's Awakening or Dr. Octopus's Awakening, they feel more unique because, well, in Mystique's case, there's only 3 characters. There's her, Nightcrawler, and Magneto. In Dr. Octopus's case, there's like 6 characters jumping out. But I feel like the reason why they're more unique is because they're the only characters that have those awakenings. Whereas every awakening since has always been 2 or 3 characters getting the exact same skill with just the main character shifted around, right? If you're not the main character on the middle, then it's on the left or on the right for that same character. So we could see, an awakening in the future for some of the other Sinister Six members. It's just going to be a copy and paste of Dr. Octopus's, and then it's going to start to feel less original. I personally don't mind, as long as, like I said, the animation looks badass, which in this case I kind of think it still does. Nightcrawler looks a bit overshadowed in his animation versus Gambit in his. Like, you can still sort of see Gambit more prominently in Nightcrawler's attack because he's floating in the air and he's throwing these purple cards. But yeah, we'll see how X-23s look. And then we come to the timeline battle changes. So I'm going to try to be brief about this because there's a lot of information, but it doesn't necessarily apply to the majority of players. So I'm just going to go through and talk about it and give you my opinion. So they're adding an additional league to Timeline Battle, which they said they were going to add, which is called the Challenger League, and it basically just follows the same color structure as the Danger Room Extreme League. Now, only the top 50 players in the game are going to be able to participate in the Challenger League. So this is a very exclusive club, and it's going to be, the biggest of the biggest whales participating. And of course, with them participating, they're going to be getting advanced, like new rewards and things like that. On top of that, you're going to be able to cheer. This is basically explaining the vengeance system for the top 50 players, but this is not going to be relevant for everyone else, literally like the 99.9% of players. The cheer system is going to be for us, everyone else, to cheer for one of these top 50 players. So you're going to be able to scroll through the Challenger League and look for players that you think are good or that you think are going to win. That's their it's a little bit confusing, but that is their icon, and then that is their team, and then those are their buffs. The buffs are actually kind of interesting in my opinion, because from the way that it sounds, and again, it's not very well worded, so I'm not 100% sure, but it sounds like based on the number of cheers that you get, so based on the number of people that cheer for these top 50 players, they're going to be given rewards. Like they're going to be given these support coins or these support whatever, and then they're going to use those, the battle support funds, these little thumbs up icons. They're going to use these to purchase buffs, and then the purchased buffs apparently will apply to all players. So that's where I find it kind of interesting. The top 50 players will be sort of their meta will be trickling down to us in a way. So the buffs down here are actually really interesting, and you can see here, this is the window, I guess, where they can purchase buffs, and they can also refresh the buffs available. So there is a layer of RNG, and there is a layer of spontaneity to it, but you have stuff like increases alien races HP by 7%, increases mutant defense by 9%. So they're going and they're looking at those factions, they're looking at those, different tags that characters have, and they're sorting the buffs by those different effects. You can see here, increases mutant attack by 7.5%, increases inhuman HP by 7% or 6%. And of course, the better the buff, you can see it's a rank 1 buff, a rank 2 buff, and the more that it purchases. And then you can see what the chances are of getting each buff. Obviously, there's a 0% chance to get these, so you're just going to get common or uncommon buffs. But yes, the way that I've understood it, it says that you can purchase buff effects one at a time from the support office. Again, that's only for the top 50 players. The remaining items will be shared with all agents. So I don't know if that means, okay, maybe I've read that wrong. Maybe that means that all other 49 players are going to be in that, all agents, or if it's all agents literally meaning all of us. So we're going to have to wait and see how it works. I honestly don't know. There's a lot of text here, and some of it just doesn't really make that much sense. But there's interesting stuff like attack increase, defense increase, HP increase, type damage increase, skill cooldown reduction, and more. So if these effects will also apply to us in some way, like some of these synergy effects are really cool. Becoming invisible when the battle begins. There's always the possibility that they are testing these effects, and they're testing these sort of gameplay mechanics, and if they're successful in the Challenger League, then they'll apply it to all of the other leagues, or maybe they'll slowly apply it. Like, let's say for the first 6 months they only apply it to Vibranium, and then after 6 months they also apply it to Platinum, and it slowly trickles down to the other leagues so that the newer players don't have to deal with it at first, but then it eventually be a part of the gameplay. I don't know, but like I said, there's not really a point in going through this in depth right now because it's only available to 50 players in the game. Literally 50, not 50%, just 50. Now, what do I think? Because I know a lot of you guys are going to be wondering, what do I think about the fact that this game mode seems to have a lot of effort put into it, but it's only for 50 players? I'm not the biggest fan of that idea when you put it that way, of course. Obviously, putting a lot of time and effort into developing mechanics that are only going to be playable by an extremely small number of players does seem like a waste. However, you have to acknowledge that in any company, in any business, in any mobile game, the developers cater to an extent to the whales, to the mega whales, because those are the players that are keeping the game, profitable, right? If you got somebody that's coming to your restaurant every single day and they're dropping thousands of dollars and they're buying up your menu, you're going to start to ask them, hey, what do you want to get next time? What kind of, what would you like to see on the menu? Because you're supporting my business, so I want to kind of give you some love in return. And for the longest time, I was complaining that there really wasn't that much for endgame players, and there really wasn't much to strive for as a whale. There really just wasn't anything to spend money on, and now there is. So you can always look at it from that point of view as well. Obviously, only 50 players being in this thing is not fun for the other players that can't be in it, but at least we get some interaction with it. You can take another game, for example, that's you know, often praised as being really generous to free-to-play players and stuff, 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross, they have a top 100 PvP league. And like the name sounds, I mean, it's accessible to everyone in the game who can get to the challenger rank, which sounds like everyone can do it, but really you have to be a spender. You have to be a spender from the get-go in order to make it to challenger. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck at like master or champion or something. But even when you get there, only the top 100 players will end up being ranked. Now, they use a different system and there's a finite number of attacks, but there's still a bunch of whaling involved, right? So it still is really just a way for the top players to flex and also to find out amongst each other who is the best. Pretty much every mobile game does this on some level. So honestly, I'm just surprised that Marvel Future Fight didn't do this sooner. I don't necessarily mind it. Like I said, if some of these ideas and some of these rewards will trickle down to us in the other leagues, then that's fine by me. If all of this content remains locked behind Challenger forever, then I do think it's bad, and I do think that it's a waste of their time. However, we are going to get rewards regardless, so I do want you to consider that. There is some reward. There's rewards for cheering, right? You get a reward just based on your cheer, regardless of whether your player wins or not. And then if they win, you get additional rewards. So let's talk about the rewards now. If we scroll down here, and again, it's a lot of stuff, I might get it wrong. So here we're gonna have 2 brand new shops. We're gonna have a glory shop and an advanced glory shop. Yeah, I don't know why that's making it so complicated, but anyways, the regular glory shop, as you can see, you've got tier 2 materials, you've got the biometrics, and then you've got these chests. So these rewards are very, very similar to what they have now in the honor token shop. They're almost identical. And then you're going to have the advanced glory token shop. The advanced glory tokens, I believe, will be primarily obtained by cheering and then by the players who are in the top 50. So as you can see, the top 50 will have access to better rewards, but you also will be able to get some of those rewards just by cheering for one of the players in the top 50. The rewards are not large amounts. I mean, it's 5, 25, or 50 CCF. Again, you can get at least 15 CCF from every fight against Null, so it doesn't seem that good anymore. You've got Essence of Dimension and Awakening Crystals, which is nice. Then you got Mandalay Gem Fragments. So I like the fact that they're putting these rewards now. They understand that these rewards here and here need to be in these high-level shops, like for players. I appreciate that they're doing that. I don't know that these amounts are going to be sufficient. Again, I don't know how quickly you're going to be able to get 200 advanced glory tokens, and whether that's worth the 50 Mandalays, we'll have to wait and see. But you also have to calculate whatever rewards you get for winning and losing in Timeline, because as you know now, when you beat someone in Timeline, you get your honor tokens just for winning, and then you get more honor tokens based on your VIP, yada, yada, yada. So it's not just this many glory tokens or whatever, however many you get for the week. It's that plus whatever you're getting for battling. Now, a bunch of people have already asked me on Twitter and stuff if they should play PvP before the update. So if you haven't yet played Timeline Battle, should you play it now before the patch notes? In my opinion, no, you shouldn't. They're going to be getting rid of the honor tokens later, not yet, so you don't have to rush to spend them. And in case you're wondering, I have very close to 60,000, which is the max, the cap on honor tokens right now. I have 58,000 honor tokens. So what they said in the patch notes, which is actually good, is after the February update, which is landing in like a minute or in like a few hours, the honor token shop will open with discounted prices. So I believe what they're going to do is they're going to discount the cost of things here for whatever reason so that we can use up all of our honor tokens, because they're going to be deleted later after an update in the future, which is either going to be the mid-month February update or the March update. So you don't have to worry. You'll still have at least a 2-week period to gauge the value of the honor tokens with this new discount. But I don't know if they said, they said glory tokens. Yeah, so glory tokens are going to be given as participation rewards instead of honor tokens moving forward. So that's why you don't want to play Timeline now, because it seems like the glory tokens give you better rewards than the honor tokens, especially if you're going for cards. I think one thing that people noticed, it's a 3 to 6 star comic card, which is really good, versus this chest here, which, as you can see, it gives you, not biometrics, this one gives you cards. I can spend 200 tokens to buy 1 chest, and as you can see, it's all 1 and 2 star cards, which is really bad. So yeah, if you're getting 3-star cards, I mean, this seems bad. This might seem better to you instead of 1 3-star card, but to be honest with you, I think this in total equals less than 1 3-star card. So yeah, And that's not even considering the gold costs to combine it. That's literally less than one 3-star card right there. Let me buy one more and see if it's any better. Nope, it's literally just as bad. So yeah, this being improved is actually a good thing. Again, how much it's going to be improved, I can't really tell. It's hard to tell, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. But that's my advice to you. Don't play Timeline Battle yet. Wait until after the update, and then we will see how it will be best to spend your honor tokens depending on what the discounts are. But apparently, either your honor tokens are going to be deleted in the next in an update in the future, or they're going to be removed and replaced with gold. But either way, I'm assuming that it's going to be better to just spend your honor tokens than to hold on to them, because they're not going to be converted into glory tokens. And then we have the all Timeline Battle rewards, and this is really where I was expecting to see some change, and there is some change, but really we wanted to see a change in the crystals. And unfortunately, there is zero change to the crystals from bronze all the way to vibranium. Again, it's a really small chart. You can click on it to zoom in, but yeah. The only change here is at the bottom, you're going to be getting at the end of the week an extra 750 glory tokens. You're going to be getting 3 extreme boost ISO instead of, I believe, 1. And then you're going to be getting some high boost and ultimate boost ISO. Basically, all of the regular ISO is useless except for 6-star ISO. So you can see here, everything up to 5 stars is essentially, not essentially useless, but it's almost useless. Really, the only thing you want is this, the extreme boost ISO, because that allows you to awaken 6-star ISO. And that's basically the only ISO that matters from any of the other types of ISO, right? So yeah, giving us 3 instead of 1 per week is a pittance. It's a pittance. It's basically nothing, because if you consider these deluxe packs, you play this once, right? If I just clear ticket this, my inventory is full. That's hilarious. But anyways, I'm gonna figure this out. But if you clear ticket this once, right? I'm gonna sell these my inventory is still full. What is going on here? All right, sell all my 1-star cards. Oh, because I just opened those chests, right? Anyways, if I clear ticket this once, watch. There you go. I just got my 2 extreme ISO. That's it. That's the difference in what they're giving us for the week, and I can get that in 1 day. And unfortunately, they haven't improved the crystal rewards at all. As you can see here, I still get 220 crystals for being in the top 1% of vibranium, which is the same here. You can see top 1%, 220 crystals. So this is really where we expected to see an improvement. Honestly, I think they should just take all of these rewards, everything that's a percentage-based reward, and they should just double it. I think that's really what they need to do, because since they introduced Timeline Battle, whatever, 5 years ago, they've never improved these rewards. They've never improved these rewards. So I really think that they need to increase the crystal rewards here. I think a lot of the anger about the fact that the Challenger League is only for the top 50 players, I think a lot of that is being displaced. A lot of that anger is displaced based on the fact that we were expecting rewards for everyone else. You know, I don't think players would be angry. Again, I can't necessarily speak for all players, but I'm just speculating here. But it makes sense to me. I don't think players would be angry that there was a Challenger League and that there were special rewards or whatever for the top 50 players if the rewards for everyone else were also buffed, right? I can understand it. It's basic mobile game logic, right? You spend more money, you get access to more things. Like, that's just how it goes. That's how it goes with pretty much everything, right? If you buy a regular car, it's going to have regular features. If you buy a really expensive car, it's going to have a rear camera and heated seats for your bum, and it's going to have like all these crazy autopilot music. There's going to be a TV in the back that comes down so your kids can watch while you're driving in your minivan or whatever. That's just basically how it goes. So sure, I don't really care personally. I'm not even going to be in the Challenger League. I don't really care that I'm missing out on the Challenger League rewards. I find these revenge systems and these buff systems interesting. That's why I hope that they're going to be sort of beta tested for the top 50, and then they're going to be introduced to everyone else. But really what I was hoping to see, and what I hope they'll still do, is improve the crystal rewards. It doesn't take a lot to just add a couple hundred here to each one, or just double them. Honestly, if they were doubled, that would be more than enough, because they increase the price of uniforms, they increase the price of other stuff, inflation, yada yada, and they've never increased the crystal rewards. So I really hope they reconsider the crystal rewards, and I really hope they improve the crystal rewards, because we do deserve it. I'm not even going to refer to the Challenger League rewards, because again, this is only for the top 50 players, so it doesn't matter for everyone else. So yeah, those are the changes there. Penetration has been added as a buff effect for heroes that have not been used frequently in Timeline Battle. They're referring to the buff list. So these buff characters here, like Craven and Lizard and Songbird. Oh, Venom? Did I see Venom? No, I didn't see Venom. Anyways, these characters here are going to have penetration added. So who knows? Maybe they'll be useful. We'll have to wait and see how that works, how that goes. And then we are getting changes to Alliance Conquest. And again, this is only for the top 100 alliances that participated in the previous season of Alliance Conquest. Now, this may seem like a repeat of Alliance of the Timeline Battle stuff, but if you consider it, only 50 players get to participate in Timeline Battle. This is the top 100 alliances, which is actually the top 4,000 plus players. And I say plus because you could have two alliances, like you could have a brother and a sister alliance, and you could rotate players in and out. So it could actually impact more than 4,000 players. Is that enough? No, I don't think so, but it's definitely a lot better and a lot wider scope than the Timeline Battle changes. So they've got a brand new map, which is pretty cool. I like the animation, I like the design of the map. That's cool. They're going to be adding buff hero nodes, which is going to give you effects. You can see here, if you follow the tier 2 speed hero human buff, which is pretty specific, then you're going to get your attack and defense increased by 20%. I don't know if this buff is going to impact the gameplay on a high enough level that you could, take like a human team and take on like Thanos and Jean Grey and Sentry, but it will definitely help at the lower stages, the lower ends of fighting. So I think all of the top meta gameplay for Conquest is probably going to remain very similar, if not the same, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because all of the mid-level and low-level fighting could become much more complex because of these buffs. And you may have to really consider the difficulty of fighting a team that you would normally just brush off completely. Because if they have a buff, you might have to start taking some of these characters like Darkhawk or Crystal more seriously, because with enough of a buff, these characters actually are good and actually can pose a threat to your weaker end characters in a 3 versus 3 fight. They're also going to be introducing this dispatch thing here, where you dispatch heroes and then you can't use them. We've already sort of talked about this. And then depending on how much dispatch, depending on how many conquered dispatch areas you have, you're going to be giving global rewards to your alliance. So I actually really like this change. Again, I wish that these conquest effects and these conquest changes will trickle down to all conquest, because I don't see why this can't be for all conquest. I understand that they want to make it right now for the top 100 alliances because they want to encourage spending, and that's basically what they're doing for Timeline Battle as well. But hopefully some of these changes get added because I think they're cool. For example, if you take, a grade 5, if you have whatever a grade 5 dispatch area is, you reduce the seal duration of the conquest stage by 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes. That's a pretty big deal because it's a 30-second seal, so that's being reduced by 5 minutes. If you can conquer 3 operation areas with the same grade, you're going to drop that by 900 seconds, which is 15 minutes. So that cuts the seal timer in half. Cutting the seal timer in half when your shield timer is already only 900 seconds can actually create a lot of new strategy and will hopefully make this a lot more interesting and a lot more fast-paced. Unfortunately, speaking of fast-paced, none of the, at least from the patch notes, none of the Conquest gameplay has changed as far as the speed and timing goes. That really has been the big criticism of Conquest since the beginning. It's a 2-hour window, 3 times a day for 4 days. 2, 3, 4. That is just a recipe for disaster. That is basically like a console game level of commitment that you have to commit to. That's like your raiding party in World of Warcraft. It's way too much time to expect players to participate in. And I really think that the devs are underestimating, or I guess overestimating, how passionate the players are. I understand that Marvel fans are passionate, but 2 hours a day, 3 times a day for 4 days. You're just out of your mind. There's no game mode that I invest that much time into. There's none. There's no game that I invest that much time into. So I think they really need to go back to the drawing board with some of these changes, and they really need to make Conquest more streamlined. It needs to be way, way more streamlined because it just takes way too long. The highlight of Conquest is that all of the rewards are being buffed. So this is where Timeline Battle really fell short. Timeline Battle was not buffing the rewards for everyone, whereas the normal leagues of Conquest are having the rewards buffed. So only for the Mythic Contribution chest. I will remind you of this. It's only for the Mythic Contribution chest. So make sure that if you're playing Conquest, you are always getting the Mythic Contribution chest, which is that red chest over there. But see, the rewards here are garbage. They're being changed to these rewards. 6-star Mega Rank Up ticket, Mythic Comic Card, Mythic Uru, Fully Awakened ISO, Black Antimatter, Chaos Norn Stones, and then Tier 3 materials. That is much, much better than the rewards used to be. And then you also get gold. Honestly, I think these rewards alone are going to make me try Conquest for at least a couple of weeks, because this is just for the normal league. If you get into the Challenger League, the rewards are even better. You get a Mega Tier 2, you get the chance at a Mega Tier 2 ticket, you get a chance at a CTP of Rage, I believe, because they put CTP, but then they put the Rage icon. Odin's Blessings. These rewards are really, really good, and it's for all participating alliances. It doesn't matter. As long as you get the Mystic, you can lose. You can get 3rd place in Conquest, but as long as you play enough, you get the rewards. So these are basically just participation rewards, which are very, very good. So again, I don't think anyone's going to complain about the Conquest rewards because they buffed the rewards for all players. On the flip side, for Timeline, they did not buff the rewards for all players in a meaningful way, in a valuable way. So of course players are going to be upset. So despite some of the missing gameplay mechanic changes, I do think they have done a good job with addressing the rewards changes in Conquest. Moving along to Alliance Battle Extreme and Squad Battle. Another miss here from the devs, in my opinion. They're going to be increasing the ABX cap from 7 million to 12 million. And they're also going to be increasing the squad battle score from 10 million to 12 million, but they are not going to be increasing the rewards at all. In my opinion, that is not something that you can do for any mobile game. You cannot increase the limit and increase the difficulty for players and not increase the rewards. That just does not compute. Whenever you increase the difficulty, whenever you increase the cap, you must give the players the carrot, right? The carrot and the stick. They get to go together. You can't just say, listen, we're going to add an extra 5 miles to this trip, but I'm not going to give you any more food or any more payment. You're just going to have to keep driving or keep walking or pulling me or whatever the cart situation analogy is. So yeah, I think they're going to change this. I hope that they will. It's very disappointing to see them not changing it. They really should add, you know, a reward for every 1 million you go, because note this at the bottom. After the update, it will be difficult to obtain scores once an agent score hits 7 million in squad battle, in alliance battle, and 10 million in squad battle. So they're going to purposely apply a multiplier that reduces your damage to make it harder and harder to climb from 7 to 12 million. Again, why not put rewards, even just like 1 million gold at 8 million, and then an Odin's Blessing at 10 million, and then like whatever. It's not that hard. So yeah, I think that I'm happy that they improved the cap, but I'm disappointed that they didn't put more rewards. The shield special support is getting a new effect. This is fine. It's just whatever. It's 100% uniform and character XP when you use clear tickets. The reason why they're changing this is because they've added one really good change that I probably should have talked about at the beginning of the video, but anyways, talk about it at the end. There's going to be a new monthly purchase. This one is quite confusing, so again, I don't want to go into too much detail about it because I don't fully understand it, but basically you purchase it for 30 days, you get your regular bio sub every 20 bios every day, like your regular bio or X Gene sub, but then on top of that, once you check in for 2 weeks straight, you get a tier 2 ticket. Basically, you're allowed to advance a character to tier 2, which could include any of these characters, and then once you log in for almost 90 days, almost 3 months straight, you can advance a character to tier 3. So I don't understand if you're gonna have to purchase this 3 times to get the tier 3 selector, because it's 84 days and this only lasts 30, or if you're just gonna have to purchase it once. So I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. The login count will not be reset even after the product expires. Purchasing the product again will continue the login count. Okay, so yeah, it does seem like you have to purchase it 3 times. Yeah, okay, so it seems like you're gonna have to purchase it 3 times. We're gonna have to wait and see what the cost is. This is kind of interesting. It's much better than the regular bio sub. It's probably gonna be more expensive, but this is good for newer players who have money to spend because they're getting a lot more value for their dollar, and they're able to, instead of, it's sort of frustrating, right? With the bio sub or the X Gene sub, you get all these bios for Spider-Woman, and you're like, okay, great, I have a 6-star Spider-Woman, now what? And then you have to just go through and deal with all these tickets and all this nonsense this sort of streamlines the process. So I think this is fine. It's just kind of like whatever. It's a bit overly complicated, but that's sort of part of the course with Marvel Future Fight. We have a new season, the new Battle Pass season. There's no bios here, and we have the Age of X icon. So this is the event icon for tokens. This is the mythic icon, and this is the legendary icon. I actually kind of like the legendary icon, so I might pick that one up. I don't know about the mythic icon. They added some icon here so you know what you're working towards. By the way, if you're not finishing the Future Pass every month, you're honestly doing yourself a huge disservice. This is half of a free premium card. And then we get to the white Deadpool uniform acquisition reveal. So the way that you get the white uniform for Deadpool is by getting all of the other uniforms in this event to Mythic, which means that no one is going to have Deadpool's white uniform for at least 2 weeks. It also means that this is a trophy uniform. It doesn't have any increased buffs. It doesn't have any increased effects. So it's not a pay-to-win uniform. It's basically just a whale flex uniform, or just a X-Men flex. If you love all these uniforms and you're going to buy them and mythic them anyways, you know, you can save up your crystals and buy all these for free. It's not necessarily a whale thing, but you know, it's basically just a trophy uniform at this point, which I think is kind of cool. I think it's good that they do this now and then, rather than always having things on sale for crystals, having things acquired through events and through, you know, different sort of build-up strategies, I think is a good thing. We should see more of these things, right? Like if you tier 3 these 5 characters, you get a uniform for free or whatever. Like, I think that's good. So yeah, obviously the uniform is not technically free because you have to purchase all these other uniforms, but if you're going to purchase them anyways, you get a free uniform. So it's kind of cool. This is sort of the big improvement for this update. All players are now going to be able to get uniform and hero XP by using clear tickets. So even if you are free to play, you will be able to get 50% of the XP and 50% of the uniform XP on the stage. So the maximum uniform XP you can get is, I believe, 160 if you do the dimension missions 11 to 15. So you'll be able to get 80 uniform XP every single time you clear ticket this stage. Now, I already get this because I'm a very high VIP. It was normally only for like VIP 10 or 12 and up, which is like you have to spend at least like $1,000, $2,000 to get there. As you can see, the purple bar is how much uniform XP I'm getting. But now they're going to be allowing all players to get this buff. Now, of course, they're starting it off at 50%. As your VIP goes higher, you can go up to 100%. So for me, these aren't any new rewards. My rewards are exactly the same. But for all of you who have a lower VIP, you're going to get access to a 50%, you know, XP farm or higher, right? If you're VIP 5 or 6 or whatever, I don't know, it might be more than 50%. It's not clear how much it is, but basically what this means is you never have to farm the stage manually again to get uniform XP. Now, you can still farm the stage manually by using the repeat button if you want. You can still do this, right? If you want to get the full uniform XP, but we've been complaining for a while that the game has too much to do and that there's just not enough time. So this saves a lot of people time. A ton of time is being saved by this. I think this is a great change, and it's going to allow even low spending or free to play players to max out their uniforms and get them to Mythic much faster. So I think this is an excellent thing. You should honestly look at this and then also look at your uniform collections, because if you have uniform collections but you just haven't gotten the Mythic, you should maybe go in and see if there's any that you can pick up that have good rewards that you can now complete for the reward in a much faster timeline, because you can farm that uniform XP much faster. You don't have to worry about your phone losing battery or whatever. They're also introducing Relay Craft for the processor in the Shield Lab, which is just like you can click it again, it's fine. And then you can just click the recommended hero filter, the check mark there, to automatically apply recommended heroes. It's like a really small, meaningless change. I don't really know why whatever, it's fine. Oh, this is a really good change. I don't know why they put this at the bottom. If someone leaves in a danger room match, you will not be penalized with a loss. You won't have that register as a defeat. Only the agent that leaves or like ditches the fight gets their points deducted. If you're playing a match and someone just dips and you lose, it doesn't count. All agents participating will no longer be considered defeated when an agent leaves a match. So if someone leaves and you get disconnected, usually they just count that as a loss. they're not going to be doing that anymore. Only the person that disconnected gets counted as lost. This is a really good change for people who play Danger Room Extreme a lot. This is really good. And then yeah, that's basically last but not least, the co-op trick that Moonbro popularized that you use to buy an extra like 5 or 10 seconds against Null at the very end of the fight when he's in the cage. You can't use that anymore. If you try to use the co-op skill when he raises his sword, he's just going to kill you anyways. So that was probably just a bug, an unintended feature that they have fixed. So yeah, those are the patch notes. This is a really, really long video. I apologize for it being so long. There actually is a lot of content here. Unfortunately, like I said, a lot of the content is just not for the majority of players. I do appreciate the rewards for Conquest, and it actually is going to make me try to play it. But I do think that the rewards for Timeline Battle need to be heavily improved because they're just not good at all. The tokens are nice, but we need to get we need to get guaranteed crystal rewards as well that are more in line with 2021 rather than like 2016 when they were introduced. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. There's going to be a lot of questions. There's honestly a lot of questions that I still have about this. So I think for the first time in a while, I'm just going to have to figure it out by playing it, because the explanations and the translations just don't really clear things up well enough for me. So yeah, hopefully I didn't get too many things wrong. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the stream tonight. And I'll see you, if you're not coming to the stream, in the next one. Take care.